I'm back.
All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
The title of the song says, "Damn it, baby, we are back." That's right. Another episode of Who's Next in NXT. And I am your host, Virgil, here once again, giving you guys the rundown for this week's NXT. Guys, we are setting the stage for what is going to be one unforgettable Great American Bash. We know Shawn Michaels has been doing his damn thing when it comes to NXT television, and I have thoroughly enjoyed watching his booking. Next to Undertaker, he is the best booker out there right now in the business, especially part of the major corporations, major companies. So you know that the Great American Bash is going to be lit. Now, with that being said, Mason Rook versus Naraku and Kaylani Jordan versus Kendall Gray would decide which two competitors would fight NXT champion Tony D'Angelo and NXT women's champion Lola Vice at the Great American Bash. Tatum Paxley put her women's North American championship on the line against the dangerous Zaria. Charlotte Hill challenged Tristan Angels in a Mr. NXT pageant. So first and foremost, we get Fraxium versus Naomi Dar and Romeo Moreno. So this was a fast-paced, high-action contest, especially once Frazier stopped interjecting in the action and working with Axiom fully. Romeo worked desperate to save Dar at multiple times in this contest, showing he could keep up with Fraxium's frantic pace. Now, at the same time, Dar and Romeo finally got control late, locking both men in ankle locks at the same time, but Fraxium broke free. Romeo almost caught Frazier again with a small package after a superplex, but Frazier kicked out this time. Dar and Romeo hit a double side slam for another near fall. Romeo dived right into a double super kick. Fraxium followed up with a golden ratio and Phoenix splash for the victory. So, first and foremost, let me put it to you guys like this. On a night where there were a night loaded with matches with real stakes, this surprise opening contest stole the whole show. Go out of your way to go back and to watch this match, guys. You will not regret it. Fraxium defeating Romeo and Dar. This match was too good not to go back and watch. This is the type of tag team wrestling Triple H longs for on the main roster. This type of match. Literally, this started the show. You know how every Monday night Raw starts with a promo, or every Friday night SmackDown usually starts with a promo with the champion coming out? No, NXT started tonight with a tag team match, and it was refreshing to have that be the very first thing you saw coming out of the beginning of the event. So yeah, tag team action, and it was good tag team action. I really enjoyed it. Before this match, NXT showed a video of Romeo last week convincing Fraxium to face Dar and Romeo. Dar and Romeo's tag entrance was reminiscent of Metaphor, with the split screen effect for the different color schemes of the two men. But like I said, all in all, this was still a great match. Afterward, Frazier told Dar that Romeo was a perfect new tag team partner for him. The new team then hugged. Next up, we got the number one contenders match for the NXT Championship. It was Mason Rook versus Naraku. So these two men hit hard throughout this intense encounter, where Naraku found himself outsized by his opponent. While the former Evil had answers to wear down Rook, he could not keep him down, allowing the big man to continue to keep rallying back and coming back and coming back. Cam Hendricks arrived to distract Rook, who walked right into the Enter the Abyss from Naraku, giving the former Evil the victory. Now, it was obvious early on in this contest that this was not going to be the usual pace of style for NXT. These are two veterans with plenty of experience built outside of the performance center. So these guys stuck to work their own style of match the way that they wanted to. The distraction of Hendricks is just the latest weird way that he has ruined the main event scene of NXT. Honestly, he didn't need to get involved in this contest to protect Rook, as it only made Naraku look worse. He was visibly overwhelmed at the end of this match. Hopefully, NXT will pick up the pace with this story after all the teases. There is real potential in D'Angelo versus Naraku that should go beyond a one-off title collision for these two. But yeah, like I said, Naraku defeated Rook by pinfall to earn an NXT Championship opportunity at the Great American Bash. The crowd was heavily invested in this match down the stretch, giving a "This is awesome" chant. Later in the night, D'Angelo promised victory against Naraku, only to be interrupted by another kanji box from Naraku. Naraku told Robert Stone later that it was an invitation to D'Angelo. So, like I said, we will see what happens after that. Next up, it's time to find out who is the number one contender for NXT's Women's Championship. We got Keilani Jordan going up against none other than Kendall Gray. Jordan tried to sneak attack Gray to start the match, but she ducked it and went right on the attack herself. The two familiar competitors answered each other's best offense time and time again. Jordan nearly stole the win by countering Shades of Grey into a pin with her feet on the ropes, but the referee caught her in the act. Gray went for a dive, but fell into a super kick, followed by a 5-star frog splash for a near fall. When Jordan went for a springboard, Gray pulled her down into an armbar that nearly forced her to submit. Jordan locked in the House of Pain that injured Ren Sinclair, but Gray refused to quit, then laid out Jordan with Shades of Grey for the win. So this was an excellent battle between two top-tier athletes that have found their chemistry over the multiple battles. Every moment of this match had the crowd invested and showcased why both of these women should be fighting for the top prize in NXT. The pace of this feud between Gray and Jordan makes the finish feel a bit anticlimactic, but the final match may only come after Gray wins the NXT Women's Championship. Vice has a solid title reign so far, but Gray is clearly the standout that NXT needs to most invest in right now. So she will be the pick, more than likely, to be the next NXT champion at the Great American Bash. So we'll see what happens there. In the locker room, Vice wished Gray good luck and made clear she did not mean to hit her last week. Sinclair refused to come out for this match, making sure Gray had no distractions. There may be nothing in NXT that gets a bigger reaction right now than Gray dropping the straps. It just gets the crowd going. Also, we saw a backstage moment where Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne ran into the Vanity Project. Tavion challenged Jackson Drake for next week. Winner would face Bourne at the Great American Bash for the North American Championship. Next up, we got Dion Lennox with Osiris Griffin versus Jasper Troy. So Lennox started aggressive, attacking Troy with focus, but he struggled to keep the big man contained. On the Titantron, Saquon Sugars teased that Lennox needed to watch his back during the match, distracting him for Troy to make his comeback. The distraction was not enough to turn the tide, though, as Lennox ducked a Vader bomb and hit a jackhammer for the win. After the match, Sugars reappeared on the Tron in a pre-recorded distraction, allowing him to take out Griffin with a baseball bat. This was ugly. While Lennox showed off his power against the big man, he and Troy both looked like rookies trying to keep this action moving. Down the stretch, Lennox dropped Troy awkwardly on his head, which luckily did not seem to cause a serious injury. However, Lennox was always going to win, but NXT is not doing Troy any favors with these recent losses. I'm really curious why Shawn Michaels is booking Jasper Troy this type of way. The build to Sugars versus Lennox has worked consistently through its mirroring Tony D'Angelo's own dismantling of Dark State recently too much. We'll see what happens there. Next up, we get the 2026 Mr. NXT pageant. The Mr. NXT pageant began after the first match of the night where Tristan Angels and Shiloh Hill showed off their fashion choices for round one. Kid Wilson, WWE Evolve Men's Champion Aaron Rourke, and comedian Matt Matthews weighed in as the judges, giving the first round to Angels 2-1. Hill dominated the talent competition, showing off his uh, Rubik's Cube and juggling skills. Angels tried to interrupt and show he was better without success. The judges ruled 3-0 to Hill. Finally, the two finished with the public speaking in front of the live NXT crowd. Angels ran down his competition on the fans while Hill talked about his journey and hardships. Matthews and Kit split their votes, and Rourke left the decision to the fans. The fan vote gave the win to Hill. Angels laid out Hill afterward and told him that Mr. NXT was his birthright. This was a weird segment overall, but paced well enough to not take too much time from the show. It did especially continue to build Hill's popularity as an every man. So we'll see what happens with that. Beyond that match, Hill is clearly at a level where he could win gold soon, likely dethroning Miles Bourne of that North American Championship. There was no clear explanation for the choices in judges of the rare homosexual man in WWE and a comedian that's also homosexual for the win for this when the roster is limited and pride representation these days. So really weird moment right there, but it is what it is. NXT held a vote on WWE.com during the show that was awkwardly timed since it did not allow voters to see the acts at all. All right, y'all. Last but not least, the Women's North American Championship. We had Tatum Paxley going up against Zaria. Zaria immediately came out of the blocks fast, going for an F5 and hitting a spear for a near fall. Paxley answered with a slingshot foot stomp onto the steel steps, but Zaria recovered quickly, brawling outside the ring. Paxley countered one spear attempt with a double foot stomp, then went for a 450 splash. Zaria ducked to land her second spear of a near fall. Zaria tried to superplex Paxley, but the champion tripped her into a tree of woe, followed by a coast-to-coast for another near fall. Both countered the other's finisher, but Zaria hit Paxley with an F5 on the floor, followed by a spear and an F5 in the ring to win the Women's North American Championship. While the action was not always perfectly clean, especially sprinting through spots often, these two fought with main event focus, delivering with some of the best work in recent memory. It is surprising this was not saved for the Great American Bash, but it certainly got a strong spotlight in the main event. So Zaria was a worthy name to win the gold and was somewhat overdue for a championship after her early run in NXT. So she and Paxley should run this back at the PLE with more time, not requiring them to rush through the great action. From there, Paxley should enter more into the NXT Women's Championship scene or the main roster. Shout out to Zaria. She was an afterthought in NXT, then moved to Sol Ruka's lackey to now being your Women's North American Champion. I'm going to rate this show all in all A minus. This show had great matches, great quality of a feud. The main event itself delivered. You got a new champion. We love when titles change hands, as well as you got some really, really great matches. The only thing that kept us from being an A+ in my eyes was the Mr. NXT pageant and just how cringeworthy that was. Outside of that, really, really, really great matches. Really, really, really great altogether put together show. This might end up being the show of the week. We'll have to see. But for now, listen, I appreciate each and every last one of you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Who's Next to NXT presented by the We Book It podcast. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night as Coachman takes you through All Elite recap. Until then, make sure you keep those booking pencils sharp and keep on booking.